Hello, fabulous superstar Leo. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of September 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is it a very special time. And it truly is so special now. And it starts right out of the gate. September 1st is a hugely important day. We are going to have Uranus go retro. Whenever a planet changes directions, it is closer to the Earth than it might otherwise be. It is at the height of its power, as is the case now with Uranus. And Uranus is going to go retrograde at the top of your sky, having to do with career, life purpose, and your understanding of a higher, more loving vision for your life. It can sometimes represent bosses and people in positions of authority. It is about what you hope to achieve, what you think is worth achieving, how you define success, and the goals that you have as well. Well, Uranus standing still and then going retro is going to bring some change, insight, breakthrough, or new understanding. That is a game changer that ends up leaving you seeing things very differently and thereby going to a place of deeper reflection, going within as to what has manifested and what it is that you want to manifest either more of or manifest instead. And so for some, the breakthrough energy here can be real opportunity that shows up now, but then there's more work to do. There's more that you may need to get done. Now, sometimes that could be a learning curve. Sometimes it can be a process moving forward from there. But yeah, there's a leap forward. For others, this can be a whole new change, like an understanding that the path you're on, that is not it. That is not the way you want to go anymore. And in an instant, you realize that, and that puts you on a different path. And for others still, it could be that the path that you have been on or some opportunity, very quickly things change. And so it's one thing to say, okay, the path you're on, you're not meant to be on that anymore. That could be very meta, right? That could be very like about your purpose and what you thought you were really meant to do. But that could also, quite honestly, be quite literal as well. Like you have a certain career and whatever role you have in an instant, that ain't it. It could be a change of roles within the same company. Now remember, Uranus is always about helping you to understand what it is to be true to yourself. Whatever external circumstances need to happen as part of that, welcome it, embrace it. Because ultimately, whatever's happening puts you on a path towards the kind of breakthrough, forward momentum energy that is trying to come in. But it has to be for the thing that you are meant to do now or meant to do next. On the same day, we have another huge celestial event taking place. The fact that both of these are happening within hours of each other, to me, is remarkable. But what we get is Pluto leaving your opposite sign, moving back into the part of the sky that Pluto has been in pretty much since 2008. And this is sort of the final hurrah, the wrapping up, if you will, of Pluto moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with your daily life, everything from your work life, your clients, customers, coworkers, the type of work you do, the environment you find yourself in, to how well you take care of you in terms of your health and the habits there. Wherever Pluto goes, it brings with it deep dedication and focus, but a need to understand that fine line between you being able to hone in and have the will of the universe go your way and powerlessness, right? Really, with Pluto, just when we think we have all the power, that's really when we are on the precipice of having none of the power. And there are always factors that can feel bigger than us in some way. And so as I look at this, I feel like clients, customers, coworkers, immediate supervisors, if you felt that there were power struggles or power games with these types of people, some of that might kick up again. I'm sorry to say, but it does happen. It could also be a sense of one of these people being very dramatic, right? My mom and I call it the drama queens, right? Yeah, you might have a drama queen on your hand or two. Not fun. Creating chaos, people who like to experience these immense highs and lows. Well, if you're trying to work and that's not really you, then that's not really a lot of fun. I mean, that's the kind of energy we might have here when it comes to the people that you interact with every day. But it can also be that it's not just them in their life, but they are playing some power game. They are trying to act like they have all the power when that's not it at all. And so you get to decide how you're going to address that energy, what you're going to do about it. The thing with Pluto is, Pluto asks you to be honest, at least with yourself, but figure out what you want to do. What's the right way forward for you in some way or another? Now, the type of work you're doing might go through a transformation. It could be that you realize what you have been doing, you now feel is superficial, or it could be that what you are now being asked to do, you deem to really not be substantive, and you're not happy about that. You don't feel good about that. But it could also be that you make changes, you initiate them, especially if it is that, you work, as they say, for yourself, you work in your own time and space. Well, this can be one of those times when you're initiating projects that you feel are a lot more in alignment with what you feel is a more authentic expression of you. Where it comes to your health-related habits, taking the best of care of you might feel like it's more on the precipice of what you really want to do. There is, again, a dedication for meaningful transformation, whether it is that you feel like you have to or you want to. You're embracing the process of change now. On the 2nd of the month, we will have this month's new moon, and it takes place in a financial part of your sky having to do with money you earn, money you spend, self-love, and self-esteem are covered here. And this new moon is standing across the sky from Saturn. And oppositions of Saturn, they can be a little tricky, to say the least. Saturn is about responsibility, limitation, and sacrifice. And when it's in opposition, it's as if the reminder of that in some way is coming from outside of you, whether it's a person, most likely, or a circumstance. This Saturn opposition is suggesting a need to be honest with yourself about how you're earning your money or how you're spending your money. And with Saturn, there's always the question of delayed gratification. What is the higher gratification you're actually going for? So for example, if it has to do with how you're spending your money, is there something you'd rather have, what you might deem to be a bigger purchase? Is that the way you want to go? Well, you may be needing to be honest with yourself about how much on that path you are. Is it that you're doing something to earn money that isn't feeling right in your soul? It isn't what you really want to do. This is a chance for honest evaluation, for reflection even. And that need for reflection might come from outside of you. Might be you're doing something and it involves you interacting with people a certain way, and that just isn't working for you anymore. That is going to show up for you at this time. But of course, many Leos might not experience this financially at all. If you do experience it financially, remember, all the money you need is there. Sometimes when you have such strong financial energy, it just means that there are important spiritual lessons you're learning through the process of dealing with your money. But having said that, this energy might work out in terms of self-love and self-esteem. You're asking yourself some hard questions. You might attract an experience that awakens an understanding of what healthy self-love might be for you, and to really look at it and take ownership for the actions that you can take right now that align you with healthy self-love. On the 17th of the month, we will begin eclipse season with a partial lunar eclipse. Now, the eclipse is taking place in a part of the sky that also has to do with finances, but it's more about financial institutions accessing resources like grants, loans, credit cards, benefits you qualify for. It is also this part of the sky that has to do with profound change, truth, transformation, power, how you understand it, how you wield it. And it has to do with an understanding of what it is to be authentically you and true to you. Well, it is this part of the sky where we have this partial lunar eclipse that it isn't just any old lunar eclipse. This is a powerful one. It involves all the biggest players in the sky now. All outer planets are involved in this. We have on one side Uranus, on the other side Pluto, speaking in harmony with this lunar eclipse. And then right next to the lunar eclipse, on the same side, on one side we have Saturn, on the other we have Neptune. And then the moon is also squaring Gemini, which makes this time feel that much bigger. It feels that much more like what's happening feels larger, more consequential in some way. And it is this eclipse that is involved in what astrologers call a kite formation. And that makes it a larger configuration, making it that much more intense and meaningful at this time. And so all of that is to say, it's a huge time. What's happening now is karmic. It'll feel like it has a will of its own. There might be matters you have to address that feel like they come out of nowhere. But ultimately, what this is saying is you are making power moves. You might be overestimating. You might be overshooting the mark. You might be overconfident or not confident enough. That's the square of Jupiter. But there is opportunity at this time. There is a sense of will. There is a sense of taking practical action, and that can have you making powerful gains in some way now. Now, where it comes to matters of love, for most of the month, we have Venus moving through a communicative part of the sky. And this means that love and mind become intimately tied. And it's almost like it can't come soon enough because Pluto exits your opposite sign on the first day of the month. And I think that is going to bring a sense of perspective that you just might need now. Given where Venus moves into just before this month begins, all of this, the Plutonian energy, the Venusian energy, it adds up to taking relationships a little bit more lightly, a little bit more intellectually, wanting to have conversations, wanting to feel a sense of connection on a mind level. Wherever Pluto goes, intensity follows and experiences that feel faded and profound, especially when Pluto is moving through your opposite sign. You're going to get a 7-week break now, after which time Pluto will move back into your opposite sign and will be there for the next 2 decades, a nice long stay. Venus, though, is going to be moving through that mind-oriented part of the sky. And I think this is going to be just the respite that you need. It's going to help you to evaluate, to talk about, to communicate about what's been happening for you, especially since January, when we had Pluto step back into your opposite sign. Likely, you've had some realizations and experiences that have moved you or affected you very deeply. And so now, as something shifts from within, you get to figure out the best plan forward for you. You get to figure out a sense of progress for you and an appreciation of how far you came in relationship, but also where it is that maybe certain actions, certain experiences you don't need to repeat anymore. You're being honest with yourself in that regard as well. And so love and mind being intimately tied for you now is just the sweet cherry that you just might need. So for those of you open to meeting someone new, powerful energies at play here in the context of new connections now. online connections, random conversations with people, these become the seeds where love becomes that much more possible for you. So stay open to inspiration, stay open to possibility. This is an exciting time. But I think so much of the experience now is going to be about wanting to understand love recently, what your feelings are, maybe your very deep feelings have been, but also where now you're coming to some decisions about what you want to prioritize going forward. And interactions you have with others are going to be part of helping you to find the right answers for you. For those of you just starting to date someone, powerful energies at play here. And in the context of dating, I feel like this is a chance to really talk through and have a new understanding with this person. It's also about needing to listen to this person. What are they telling you? What are they expressing to you? This is going to matter as well. Ultimately, people reveal themselves. And at least now you can listen and you can communicate through love as part of figuring out whether or not this is someone to navigate forward with. And for those of you in an established bond, remarkable energies at play here. This energy makes words that much sweeter, and where it is perhaps you've been putting off certain conversations that actually are very important, they can be better received under a sky like this. To really communicate, to find a sense of connection, to find a sense of being able to come to some sense of consensus can be part of the blessing of this time. Now, for that very small percentage of you out there, if you felt for a while that maybe you're not in the right relationship for you, I think this is a moment where you're going to be able to say it, acknowledge it, whether it's to that person or to someone else, as part of figuring out the next best steps for you. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. So I'm actually going to say one thing that I didn't mention is that Mercury, as we enter this month, is recently direct in your sign. And it is going to be on the 7th of the month that Mercury will square Uranus for a third and final time. If you think back, it was July 21st and August 19th that we had the last exact squares of Mercury and Uranus as part of the larger Mercury retrograde season, part of which was spent with Mercury in your sign. And this square is a really big deal because this square is a personal realization that feels surprising and feels important. It feels like you're seeing and understanding who you are differently in some way now. And whatever you've been thinking, especially over the course of April, which was such a Mercury retrograde month, whatever you've been thinking, especially about you, what matters to you most, what matters to you first, in an instant, it might just start to look different to you in some way. And so embrace the possibilities, embrace the promises of this moment, because ultimately they are leading you in a direction to know yourself more deeply, to know your truth, to be surprised by who it is you actually know yourself to be and what your priorities actually are. And with that clarity, you're able to align your actions so that you actually are living the truth of you. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.